NBA, the powerful 6'5" guard scored 19 points in his Warriors debut, went on to play 4 seasons with the Dubs, becoming a fan favorite and finishing as the runner-up for the 6th Man of the Year award in 1992. In 2001, Luis Gonzalez of the Diamondbacks hit a bottom of the ninth inning, bases-loaded 2-out bloop single off Mariano Rivera to help the Diamondbacks beat the Yankees 3-2 in Game 7 for their first World Series title. It was Rivera's only World Series blown save. This Sports Flashback brought to you by Xfinity, reinventing entertainment so you can enjoy it your way. Xfinity, the future of awesome.
So question, how far would you go for a friend? Ride to the airport? Half your sandwich? Donate a body part?
I need a kidney transplant.
I have 2 kidneys, right?
Yeah.
Why do I need 2?
You don't?
Well, then guess who's getting a kidney?
Silicon Valley's Thomas Middleditch and Tony winner Annalie Ashford.
Kidney buddies for life.
A new original series, Be Positive, premieres this Thursday on CBS.
An unprecedented election, hotly contested ballot measures, the race for the White House. Join me, Stan Bunger, for the Bay Area's most comprehensive post-election coverage tomorrow morning, right here on the Bay Area's news station, KCBS.
KCBS News Time, 1:52. It's time now for our Tech Watch Report with CNET Editor-at-Large Ian Sherr. Facebook's own people are starting to question its role in society. An internal poll finds only 51% of Facebook employees believe the social network is having a positive impact on the world. Wow, these numbers are kind of scary. Ian?
They are, and I think they're pretty telling. I mean, the last 4 years have been very tough if you're a Facebook employee. And as someone who has talked to several Facebook employees over the years, the thing that constantly comes up is that they're kind of flabbergasted by the really bad things that keep coming out about the company. And I think that's something that's very different from the way they felt 5 years ago, before the 2016 election, and all of this misinformation and disinformation and hate speech and all these issues really started to come to the forefront. Before that, Facebook was seen as a force for good. Now we're really questioning what role tech has in our lives.
So, looking ahead then now to what's happening today, the FBI looking into some suspicious robocalls trying to keep people from voting?
Yeah, this is really interesting. So apparently in Michigan, at least, as well as Ohio, Texas, Florida, and Nebraska, there have been reports of robocalls going out basically telling people to stay indoors today and vote tomorrow, which, by the way, you can't vote tomorrow. Make sure you vote today. So that is something that's a little worrying. A couple of attorneys general have now said that they're going to investigate it. I'm really curious to see where it's coming from, because for the most part, it has been a pretty calm day. And it's sad to see the potential of anyone losing the chance to vote, but especially over misinformation like this.
The FBI seems to be on it quickly.
Yes. Well, I think, as is the case with Facebook and the tech industry, everyone needs to show that they're on it, right? And one of the things that everyone missed 4 years ago was all this disinformation. And so I think any concerns or questions about that stuff, you're going to see the government, you're going to see the tech industry, whomever else jump on it real quick, at least to say they're looking into it so that we don't feel like they're off the ball again.
All right, Ian, good to talk to you. Thanks for the time. That is CNET Editor-at-Large Ian Sherr. You can hear our Tech Watch Reports weekdays 1:50 on KCBS. Jason Brooks now on the Money Watch.
Online retailers are planning for a blockbuster holiday season thanks to an already record year for e-commerce due to the pandemic. Adobe is forecasting that online sales will soar 33% higher this holiday season to $189 billion, with Vice President of Marketing and Customer Insights John Copeland saying that on top of an influx of new online shoppers, return customers are broadening their options.
So you might have had 2 or 3 stores where you did all your online shopping before the pandemic. Now that might be 5, 6, 7, or 8 stores.
Adobe is predicting that Cyber Monday sales will rise upwards of 40% to more than $12 billion. Wall Street rallied higher for the second straight session, with the Dow gaining 555 points, NASDAQ up 203 points, the S&P moving higher by 59 points. The Dow was led higher by Boeing, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and Walgreens, while Apple, Amazon, and Facebook led a tech sector rebound. On the Money Watch, Jason Brooks, KCBS.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater dies? Also, it sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
At Chewy, we know every moment is made even better with our pets. And we believe those moments don't have to cost more money. So you can save on your dog's favorite food. Tasty treats for your cat's late night snacks. Chewy even has prescriptions to keep your pets healthy so you can share more moments together. Like walks in the park, we've got leashes and collars. And those rainy days in, there's toys to keep them busy. Get everything you need for your pets, all delivered right to your door. Save 30% on your first auto ship order up to $20. Visit Chewy.com today.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids.
Donate your car today with 1-877 Cars for Kids. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights. Also on the web at carsforkids.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Remember, that's Cars with a K.
CBS November 16th. Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield star in The Neighborhood.
Did Malcolm say what he did to get arrested?
It was being black in America.
I'm filing a complaint. Where's the suggestion box?
I'm gonna organize a protest. You're supposed to use your head, Malcolm. Come on, man. You gotta fight smart. I can feel the... Where's Malcolm?
I thought he's with you.
I'm going back out there.
I'm going with you.
No, I don't need anybody else I love out there. Come on, Dave.
The Neighborhood. Season premiere. Monday, November 16th on CBS.
1:58 at KCBS. Back to Petaluma with George.
Where we have very slow traffic in both directions through the downtown area of Petaluma. The northbound backup now reaches well beyond 116 to Petaluma Boulevard South. The heavy traffic will last almost to Petaluma Boulevard North. It'll clear up just before Corona Road. That's not an exit, but you know where it is if you drive this stretch. The KCBS phone force tells us there's some kind of police activity there, and we do know that it's not only affecting the northbound, but the southbound ride there as well, which is also jammed up, but not for as long a distance. Kim Vestal has your next update at 2:08 on the Traffic Leader, KCBS.
It's a lovely fall day out there with temperatures ranging from the 60s and 70s at the beaches in the bay, and we should soon see some low 80s inland. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS. It is Tuesday, the 3rd of November, Election Day 2020, coming up on KCBS.
This is Matt Bigler at the election desk, monitoring lines at polling places and any possible election interference.
I'm Holly Kwan. Oakland's mayor understands election jubilance and frustration, but hopes it's not something that spills out into the streets tonight.
Coronavirus cases, continue to mount amid a stark warning from one of the nation's top experts. Good afternoon, I'm Rebecca Corral. CBS News is next.
When you need to know, KCBS AM, KFRC FM, and HD1. San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, a radio.com station.
It's 2 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Eggland's Best.
I'm Matt Piper in New York.
I voted for Trump because honestly, it's for our country.
I like Joe Biden because I believe he is a very honest man.
Those voters in Wisconsin, just some of the millions heading to the polls on this election day. Polls in some parts of Indiana close the earliest in just 1 hour. How are the candidates spending their day? Joe Biden supporters in Philadelphia, a city he was in this afternoon on a final push. CBS's Michael George.
Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden stopped by his childhood home in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Hey, everybody, how are you?
He thanked supporters in the battleground state for getting out the vote.
I basically came to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
After a quick stop in Virginia, CBS's Natalie Brand reports President Trump is getting briefings on incoming election data.
We're seeing lines of people
And they're wearing a lot of red material, including hats.
CBS News has confirmed the Trump campaign has a war room set up to monitor the results, and the president will be here at the White House with about 400 guests as the returns come in.
The path to victory for either candidate could depend on just a handful of states. CBS News Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto.
A possible path for Joe Biden could run up through the upper Midwest, winning states the president won in 2016. For the president, his path probably starts going back through the Sun Belt.
More than 575,000 COVID cases were reported in the last week here in the U.S. CBS's Naomi Ruckham.
Here in New York, city officials are asking the public not to give in to pandemic fatigue. The infection rate is still low, but the mayor sees cause for concern.
605 cases. We are watching that very carefully. Some of that, again, is because of a lot more testing, but is still cause for concern.
Cases are on the rise in Colorado, where the Denver Broncos announced both their team president and general manager John Elway have tested positive for COVID-19.
CBS News confirms an internal memo White House coronavirus task force leader Dr. Deborah Birx wrote, saying we are entering the most deadly phase of the pandemic. Hurricane Eta is hitting Nicaragua with 140-mile-per-hour winds. CBS News meteorologist Jeff Birardelli says we could start to feel the effects.
It is likely to continue to move north, probably pick up some power, actually get a little bit stronger, and it could very well threaten Florida by as early as the end of the weekend.
Wall Street seems to like Election Day. The Dow gained 554 points, NASDAQ up 202, S&P gaining 59. This is CBS News.
Today, stronger immunity and better nutrition are more important than ever. That's why Eggland's Best gives you and your family more. That's healthy news for everyone. Only Eggland's Best.
Election Day 2020. Live and local coverage continues right here, right now, on the Bay Area's news station, KCBS.
It's 2:03, sunny and warm at your news station, KCBS. Good afternoon. I'm Rebecca Corral. Patty and Jeff will join you with our special election coverage in an hour, 3 o'clock. Here's what's happening. While most Californians have already voted by mail, many are still showing up to cast their ballots now on Election Day. KCBS's Matt Bigler joins us live from our election desk with the latest. Matt?
Good afternoon once again, Rebecca. From drive-up, drop-off ballots to massed voting, it's been a strange election day 2020. The good news is so far things have been going smoothly at polling places across the Bay Area, according to county registrars of voters. President Trump, meanwhile, singled out Oakland again in an interview on Fox News this morning, saying that he expected violence after the polls closed tonight. As KCBS's Holly Kwan reports, the city's mayor makes no mistake about how she feels about the president slamming her hometown.
I'm very proud to be hated by President Trump.
Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf says it's spiteful politics that prompts the president to point fingers at progressive liberal cities and badmouth them.
Every time that he abuses the name of my hometown, of the city that I am so proud to represent, it redoubles my commitment to see him never in a place of influence again.
But she acknowledges the city was taken by surprise this time 4 years ago when a Trump victory was met with vandalism and destruction.
Now this year people are being much more proactive, and we've seen the civil unrest over the summer. We know people are anxious because of this pandemic. So I think it is very reasonable that many business people chose to board up as a preventative measure.
Holly Kwan, KCBS.
Now back to the voting today. Many voters have waited for years for Election Day 2020. KCBS reporter Tim Ryan spoke with some of them casting ballots at a library on the peninsula.
If you're looking for a diversity of opinion, this polling place is a good fit. Mike Mallory rode his electric hoverboard to the San Carlos Library. He skipped the vote in 2016, wasn't very pleased with how it turned out.
Trump or Biden? Biden, yeah. It's going to be Biden.
John Duquette is a Trump supporter.
I'm hopeful that Trump wins.
You want Donald Trump?
I do, yes. Yeah, I like what he's done with the economy. I like it's coming back.
San Mateo County Deputy Chief Elections Officer Jim Irizarry says poll workers are trained to spot any sign of trouble.
We are working very cooperatively with local law enforcement. Fortunately, in San Mateo County, we haven't seen what is being seen nationally in terms of that discord.
The first rule at every polling place, no electioneering or campaigning within 100 feet. In San Carlos, Tim Ryan, KCBS.
Now, so far, there have been no serious incidents of voter intimidation, although the FBI is investigating some suspicious robocalls to voters in several states, warning them to, quote unquote, stay safe and stay home. And finally, North Carolina, one of the critical swing states, said today that voters will see extended hours at 4 polling locations that ran into some technical issues earlier this morning. The first polls close in about 2 hours. Live at the election desk, Matt Bigler, KCBS.
Thank you, Matt. California voters are deciding a number of key issues. One follows a national awakening on race, which is driving a well-funded campaign to reinstate affirmative action in public hiring, contracting, and college admissions. But public polling indicates Proposition 16 is struggling, suggesting that voters may not be ready to repeal a quarter-century-old ban on affirmative action. Supporters say such programs are critical to undoing generations of systemic racism and sexism. Opponents say government should never use skin color or gender to discriminate or grant preferences. Another key vote is on the fate of Uber, Lyft, and other app-based delivery drivers. Proposition 22 is the most expensive ballot measure in state history, with spending exceeding $220 million, bankrolled largely by Uber and Lyft. It asks whether the titans of the so-called gig economy will be able to keep drivers classified as independent contractors or have to treat them as employees eligible for benefits and job protections. Opponents say the companies exploit drivers to keep profits high. Supporters say the measure would allow drivers to maintain the freedom to work hours that they choose. Just ahead on KCBS, major cities across the United States and the Bay Area prepare for any backlash after the elections. We'll have those details in a few minutes. KCBS News Time 2:08. We've got a traffic update for you now, and we're going to get that from. Hold on one second, because we're changing the guard. I'm not used to being in here at 2 o'clock, so we're going to dial up the right. All right, well, I'm having a little trouble with that. Are you there?
Hello. Do you hear me?
I do. Hey,
Yay!
Kim.
I know. I heard your voice and I went, oh, I wonder how this is going to go.
Yeah.
A fairly calm start to our afternoon commute on this Election Day afternoon. Our biggest backup, as George was reporting, in Petaluma in both directions at 101. In fact, this is related to police activity. We don't have a lot of specifics about what's happening, but the Highway Patrol just issued a special traffic advisory for whatever is going down, and expect ongoing delays in both directions of 101. Aside from that, traffic in the North Bay is in decent shape if you're headed to
Read online at carsforkids.com. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll get a vacation voucher and maximum tax deduction.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Also accepting boats, motorcycles, RVs, and life. But at Arizona State University, we respect your twists and turns. They make our online students more driven to excel in their professional lives. That's why our personalized suite of services with innovative resources and staff that sticks with you. Make your next turn with one of our 200-plus programs at ASU, a top 10 university for online bachelor's programs. Tap to learn more or visit us at asuonline.asu.edu.
This break is brought to you by Rodale Kids, publisher of Wild Symphony, the first children's book from internationally best-selling author Dan Brown. The highly acclaimed author of The Da Vinci Code brings you a humorous and mindful picture book that's accompanied by Brown's first ever musical release. Each spread has its own enchanting music available through an interactive app, making for a uniquely entertaining experience for the whole family. Available now wherever books are sold. Visit wildsymphony.com for more info.
KCBS News Time 2:12. Worried about the possibility of election night protests or celebrations, some San Francisco shop owners have boarded up their windows with plywood. As KCBS's Jeffrey Schaub reports, the city's police department has canceled all days off, and is preparing for any possibilities.
To give you an example, a Lululemon sports apparel store along Union Street was boarded up, although open. A security guard stood outside. On Chestnut Street at an Apple store, it was business as usual. Both businesses have been vandalized across the Bay Area for years.
I'm here on Van Ness Avenue, and a number of businesses here have boarded up their entrances. Some have had them boarded up for months, but some of them very recently, and I know that because I drove down this street just a few days ago, and I didn't see these businesses boarding up.
That would include a Staples store and a small grocery. San Francisco police say they have canceled all discretionary days off. This is spokesperson Tiffany Hang.
We're also working with our local city partners and are in contact with state and federal partners. There are no known threats to the city or to polling places.
Police in Oakland have been preparing as well. In San Francisco, Jeffrey Schaub, KCBS.
KCBS News Time 2:13. We've got a sports report in 2 minutes.
Hit the road with Best Western for a safe stay in California. This fall, Best Western Rewards members get a $25 Best Western gift card for each night they stay. Book now at bestwestern.com. Offer ends November 23rd. Terms and conditions apply.
Every challenge brings new opportunities. Find yours with a degree from the University of Arizona online. We bring academic excellence to your fingertips so you can stay home and get ahead. As our world is changing, we're connecting in new ways, collaborating, sharing, learning from each other. 100 plus programs, 100% online. Find your opportunity. Go to online.arizona.edu to apply today.
CBS November 16th. Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield star in The Neighborhood.
Did Malcolm say what he did to get arrested?
It was being black in America.
I'm filing a complaint. Where's the suggestion box?
I'm gonna organize a protest. You're supposed to use your head, Malcolm. Come on, man. You gotta fight smart. I can feel the... Where's Malcolm?
I thought he's with you.
I'm going back out there.
I'm going with you.
No, I don't need anybody else I love out there. Come on, Dave.
The Neighborhood. Season premiere. Monday, November 16th on CBS.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is getting up to use the bathroom at the stadium.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Oh, sorry. Excuse me? You mind if I just squeeze by here?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Bay Area traffic slowing you down? We'll get you through it. Nobody navigates the Bay Area better than the traffic leader. All News 106.9 and AM 740. KCBS.
Coming up on KCBS, Democrats are hoping to take back the White House and the Senate. In 5 minutes, a closer look at where crucial battles are taking place. KCBS News Time 2:15. We've got a sports update for you now with Ted Ramey. Good afternoon, Ted.
Good afternoon, Rebecca. The talk around town continues to be surrounding the future of Jimmy Garoppolo with the 49ers. And it was Niners legend and Hall of Fame quarterback Steve Young adding fuel to the fire during ESPN's Monday Night Football coverage.
And I think that's been the issue with Jimmy. And I think that $25 million and a shrinking salary cap with this injury, let's ban it around, but I just don't know how Jimmy ends up being the quarterback for the 49ers next year.
Again, that sound courtesy ESPN. Now, today we learned from head coach Kyle Shanahan that the team is hoping to avoid surgery with Garoppolo and that he will be able to play in 4 to 6 weeks' time, but surgery again is an option. Other 49ers news, running back Tevin Coleman, who was back from the injured reserve list for Sunday's loss to the Seahawks, hurt his knee and will be out for this week at least. Another note out of the NFL, Broncos president of football operations John Elway and CEO Joe Ellis have both tested positive for coronavirus. They will isolate at home, so we'll be paying attention to that one. And out of soccer, world and Argentinian legend Diego Maradona will have brain surgery to treat a subdural hematoma that is being described as relatively routine. Maradona led Argentina to a World Cup win in 1986 and is widely considered among the best players ever. At the sports desk, Ted Ramey, KCBS.
An app may tell you what.
Here is today's weather.
We explain why.
PG&E sent out a note just a short time ago saying that they got some gusts that reached up to 90 miles an hour in parts of the North Bay. Can you confirm that?
We saw a wind gust of 84 miles an hour. That was around 9 o'clock this morning.
All news, all the time on KCBS.
Hi, it's Kim Wonderly with my husband.
Hi, it's Kevin Radich.
We're living through unprecedented times. The feeling of isolation can be overwhelming, but that's where the power of radio comes in. Sometimes just hearing a familiar voice can be reassuring.
And of course, KCBS is committed to bringing you all the latest news you need from the voices you trust now more than ever. We will get through this together as one big community.
KCBS is helping the Bay Area stay connected. For more, go to radio.com/stay connected.
I'm so sick.
Ooh, honey.
Seriously? I'm sick.
Oh, honey, it's time for DayQuil Severe Honey. It's maximum strength cold and flu medicine with soothing, honeylicious taste.
I love you, honey.
And I love you.
I meant the DayQuil.
New DayQuil Severe Honey. The soothing, honeylicious, daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, power through your day medicine. Use as directed.
From hotly contested ballot measures to the race for the White House.
It's the most contentious election that many of us have ever experienced.
You can count on KCBS to deliver the facts.
Election staff will be processing ballots 20 hours a day for about a week.
All news, all the time, in the Bay Area's most comprehensive election coverage. Right here on KCBS.
KCBS News Time 2:18. We can always count on the East Shore to get us in trouble. Heading to Emeryville now with Kim Vestal.
And traffic was looking so nice on the East Shore Freeway. Now it's starting to back up, Rebecca. This update brought to you by Chilton Auto Body. It's fender bender in the westbound direction in Emeryville. This would be westbound Interstate 80, and it's just after Powell Street. Fortunately, the vehicles involved just made it over to the right-hand shoulder. Nevertheless, traffic is starting to back up in the westbound direction, but eastbound Interstate 80 looks great. Wide open ride between the Maze and the Carquinez Bridge, so hopefully it'll stay that way. And we've got still big delays in Petaluma because of this police activity backing up traffic through downtown. Both directions of 101 are very, very heavy. We're not getting a lot of information about exactly what's happening. Perhaps if you're there stuck in the jam, you've got info. The phone force number 415-391-KCBS. That's 391-5227. If no one picks up, please leave a message. We screen and listen to all the calls. Got our hands full today. South Bay Freeway is also a breeze. No new problems to report in the Silicon Valley, including Highway 17, that midday landscaping that had things jammed up. Northbound 17 right around Highway 9. That's picked up.
CBS November 16th. Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield star in The Neighborhood.
Did Malcolm say what he did to get arrested?
It was being black in America.
I'm filing a complaint. Where's the suggestion box?
I'm gonna organize a protest. You're supposed to use your head, Malcolm. Come on, man. You gotta fight smart. I can feel the... Where's Malcolm?
I thought he's with you.
I'm going back out there.
I'm going with you.
No, I don't need anybody else I love out there. Come on, Dave.
The Neighborhood. Season premiere. Monday, November 16th on CBS.
CBS News Time 2:21. Democrats are hoping to flip North Carolina back to blue for the first time since 2008 and just the second time in nearly 50 years. Recent polls show President Trump and former Vice President Biden in a dead heat there. Chris Van Cleve reports.
There was a line outside this polling place in Raleigh on a very cold morning, about 30 people waiting for the polls to open at 6:30 this morning. We've seen a steady pace of people coming and going, and election officials believe there will be a record number of votes cast in North Carolina this year, perhaps more than 5 million. The vast majority of those are going to come in the form of early voting. The early vote alone has nearly equaled the 2016 total. Almost 4.6 million voted early or by mail-in absentee. That is a record here. Turnout so far is at about 62%. Democrats have outperformed Republicans in early voting by over 5%. President Trump made, by our count, his 14th campaign visit to North Carolina yesterday to rally supporters one last time to get out and vote.
I really believe that the direction we were going to with the Democrats were not the right direction. I believe in defending the police. I believe in defending America.
Are you concerned about the outcome here? Do you feel like he has it in the bag?
Well, I take nothing for granted, but I feel the momentum's definitely on his side. And I think, we saw this in 2016. The polls showed him that, there's no chance he was going to win. But by the end of the night, I think a lot of the people that don't show up in the polls show up to vote. And I think you'll see that again, especially in North Carolina.
Polls here show the race very close, so there could be several key factors that end up being the decider here. You have an incumbent Democrat governor on the ballot. You have a strong Democratic challenger against a Senate incumbent. That could move turnout. We're also watching the changing demographics here in North Carolina. They have hundreds of thousands of more registered voters now than in 2016. And of course, what happens with the minority vote? It was crucial for President Obama to win here in 2008, but that turnout has declined in the last two elections.
And that is Chris Van Cleve reporting. Arizona's changing electorate has brought changes to the state's business climate. CBS News correspondent Stephen Kaufman reports.
Arizona is reportedly turning increasingly Democratic, in part because it successfully wooed companies and their workers from more liberal states. Garrick Taylor with the Arizona Chamber of Commerce.
That's not just because it's a dry heat and people like comfortable January temperatures. It's because it's a favorable business environment here, and that includes everything from taxes to regulations to an available labor pool.
Taylor says it's difficult to pinpoint just how much incoming businesses impact the electorate. Stephen Kaufman, CBS News, Prescott, Arizona.
Meanwhile, here in California, Democrats are in no danger of losing control of the state legislature and may even expand their supermajorities after votes are tallied. But incumbents in the 80-member Assembly and 40-member Senate aren't invulnerable. That's particularly true with California's top two balloting. Voters in some cases have set up contests within the same political party by advancing the two highest vote getters from the March primary election. Several in Orange County, the greater Los Angeles area, and here in the Bay Area face challengers and have drawn high spending from interest groups. KCBS Money Watch now. Wall Street placing election bets on big tech. Here's Jason Brooks.
A much better day for tech stocks, with Apple and Facebook each rallying higher by 1.5%, helping lead to a big day for the market. The Dow gained 555 points, NASDAQ up 203 points, the S&P rose 59 points. The election could have a big impact on tech firms. Both sides of the aisle have been going after the technology sector, highlighted by last week's Senate hearing on Section 230, which shields internet firms from liability over online content posted on their platforms. Wall Street is divided on how the election will impact tech companies. An Alliance client note says Democrats are more likely to pursue changes in big tech, and a Deutsche Bank analyst note says the tech sector was one of the biggest benefactors of President Trump's tax reform. But on the flip side, venture capitalist and political strategist Bradley Tusk says in a client note that Biden is clearly the candidate for Silicon Valley, with companies welcoming the stability while also benefiting from the lifting of immigration restrictions. On the Money Watch, Jason Brooks, KCBS.
Hit the road with Best Western for a safe stay in California. This fall, Best Western Rewards members get a $25 Best Western gift card for each night they stay. Book now at bestwestern.com. Offer ends November 23rd. Terms and conditions apply.
As we head into the holiday season, no matter how busy you may be, cool, wet weather usually brings with it
termite swarming season. This is Joe Starkey, and for over 3 years now, you've been hearing me rave about the licensed professionals at Pacific Coast Termite. That's because I can't speak more highly about the work they've done to my home. I'm really glad I called the licensed professionals at 800 Pacific. They'll work with your busy lifestyle. I love the fact that they're local and serve the entire Bay Area. They inspect, treat, and repair where needed, and finally, take all necessary measures to prevent the little devils from coming back. Pacific Coast Termite uses Orange Oil Plus, so you and your pets can stay in your home. No fumigation to force you to bag your food. No need to move out. Pacific Coast Termite is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. So if you call now, you get 10% off termite treatments. And have you noticed rodents? Oh, yikes, we did, and Pacific Coast Termite took care of that problem too. Call them like I did, 1-800-PACIFIC. That's 800-722-4342 or PacificCoastTermite.com.
The home and commercial service industries are more competitive than ever. And whether you own an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, or other service business, you know that finding new customers, closing deals, and building loyalty is the name of the game. Fortunately, Service Titan can help you with all those things. Service Titan's premier contracting software was built to help you book more jobs, close better deals, and even sell more maintenance contracts. You'll also get access to their unbeatable US-based customer support too. More than 5,000 businesses across the US already trust Service Titan to improve operations, increase customer satisfaction, and boost revenue. In fact, Service Titan customers increase their revenue by an average of 25% in just their first 12 months. So isn't it time your software put you at the cutting edge of this industry? Schedule your free no-obligation personalized demo today at ServiceTitan.com. ServiceTitan.com.
Jason's Money Watch Report, sponsored by CreatingYourPension.com.
So question, how far would you go for a friend? Ride to the airport? Half your sandwich? Donate a body part?
I need a kidney transplant.
I have 2 kidneys, right?
Yeah.
Why do I need 2?
You don't?
Well, then guess who's getting a kidney?
Silicon Valley's Thomas Middleditch and Tony winner Annalie Ashford.
Kidney buddies for life.
A new original series, Be Positive, premieres this Thursday on CBS.
CBS, November 16th. It's the season premiere of All Rise. LA's newest Superior Court judge is changing the system.
When I take the bench, I'm taking a vow to fight for justice.
One case at a time.
Your Honor.
We're going to trial.
Simone Missick is Judge Lola Carmichael.
Up on that bench, everything is different.
The season premiere of All Rise.
Freedom is at stake. It's important.
Followed by the season premiere of Bull. CBS, November 16th.
KCBS News Time 2:28. We are back on traffic now. Kim takes us to Petaluma. Some delays there.
Yeah, still packed in Petaluma, but getting help from the KCBS phone force. Thank you for the calls. Backed up in both directions on 101. Most of the police activity is on the right-hand shoulder. Callers say it appears to be rubberneckers more than anything else. People just slowing down to see what's going on. It appears to be wrapping up, but that's unofficial. We'll keep an eye on it. Next update at 2:38 on the Traffic Leader, KCBS.
Lovely day, sunny and warm. Temperatures 60s to low 80s this afternoon. Tonight, we'll see a little fog at the coast. It'll be cool. And then tomorrow, after that coast burns off, more sunshine and more mild to warm temperatures. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
A little preparation will make you and your family safer in an emergency. A week's worth of food and water, radio, flashlight, batteries, and a first aid kit are a good start. To learn more, visit safetyactioncenter.pge.com.
It's time for the Xfinity Sports Flashback. This week in 1988, Greta Vates won her record 9th women's title at the New York City Marathon and was named Runner's World Magazine Female Runner of the Quarter Century. Vates also winning the London Marathon twice and the Stockholm Marathon. In 1989, Sharon, the powerful 6'5" guard, scored 19 points in his Warriors debut, went on to play 4 seasons with the Dubs, becoming a fan favorite and finishing as the runner-up for the 6th Man of the Year award in 1992. In 2001, Luis Gonzalez of the Diamondbacks hit a bottom-of-the-ninth inning, bases-loaded, 2-out bloop single off Mariano Rivera to help the Diamondbacks beat the Yankees 3-2 in Game 7 for their first first World Series title. It was Rivera's only World Series blown save. This Sports Flashback brought to you by Xfinity, reinventing entertainment so you can enjoy it your way. Xfinity, the future of awesome.
You're listening to continuing coverage of Election Day 2020 on the Bay Area's news station, KCBS.
It is Tuesday, November 3rd, Election Day 2020. Coming up on KCBS, Lyft and Uber drivers rally against Proposition 22. Oakland voters casting their ballots where the Warriors used to practice their three-pointers. And we continue our around-the-clock team coverage of this historic Election Day. Good afternoon. I'm Rebecca Corral, KCBS News Time 2:31. We're getting close to polling time closing, or ending rather, in some East Coast states.
Yes News special report. Polls will start to close in 30 minutes in some parts of Indiana. It comes as both President Trump and Joe Biden made a last-minute effort to get out the vote. Biden in Pennsylvania.
We choose hope over fear. We choose truth over lies. We choose science over fiction. We can take this.
Mr. Trump in Virginia says he wants to know results sooner and opposes nearly a dozen states allowing ballots to arrive after today.
You can't have these things delayed for many days and maybe weeks. You can't do that.
As for those voting, this woman's in North Carolina.
No matter what happens in the near future, I had a say in it.
Some big Senate races are also on the ballot. Republican Lindsey Graham up against Jamie Harrison in South Carolina.
Democrats have done a really good job of early voting. So to my Republican friends, we have to show up in big numbers today to close the gap.
CBS News special report. I'm Matt Piper.
KCBS News Time 2:32. A lot of anxious anticipation as KCBS News Time 2:32. A lot of anxious anticipation today. Americans exercising their democratic right to vote in person. KCBS's Matt Bigler joins us live from our election desk with the very latest. Matt?
So, Rebecca, we are just getting the first results of exit polling. According to CBS News, voters were asked which is more important, containing the coronavirus or rebuilding the economy. Slightly more voters nationally and in key battleground states said that COVID-19 should be more of a priority. Meanwhile, as voters head to the polls on Election Day, some ride-hailing drivers are taking to the streets to encourage them to vote no on state Proposition 22. KCBS's Carrie Hudasek has that story from downtown Oakland.
Proposition 22 would reverse portions of State Assembly Bill 5, which was passed in January. It would classify gig workers as independent contractors and not employees.
We're going to be without any benefits, no workers' compensation, no minimum wage, no sick days.
Hector Castellanos drives 14 hours a day for both Uber and Lyft. He has to pay for gas, maintenance, and insurance. So does Lyft driver Alan Franklin.
Sure, we can go back and declare those as tax losses, but it would be better if our company took a strong and firm hand in our safety and the passenger's safety instead.
Yes on 22 tells KCBS it'll give drivers flexibility to choose when, where, and how long they want to work. But Franklin says that depends on demand.
I can be flexible to drive at 4 in the morning, but there's no passengers waiting for me.
Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash have spent about $200 million backing Prop 22. Neither company was available for comment. In Oakland, Carrie Hudasek, KCBS.
And back to the voting that's still happening today. So far, the word from election officials is there have been no major problems at polling places in the Bay Area. Also, no voter intimidation. Turnout is down. Now, that's largely because so many people have voted by mail during the pandemic. The very first polls on the East Coast close in less than an hour. So stay tuned to KCBS for the latest. Reporting live from the election desk, Matt Bigler, KCBS.
Thank you, Matt. Meanwhile, Californians have a lot of other propositions on their ballots. Here are a few of the notable ones. Proposition 15 would hike property taxes on big business, raising billions of dollars for schools and local governments. Farm property would be exempt, and obviously so would homes. Proposition 17 seeks to restore a person's right to vote following the completion of a prison term. Prop 18 would allow 17-year-olds to vote in primary and special elections if they will be 18 and eligible by the next general election. Further down the ballot, Prop 23 would require kidney dialysis clinics to have at least one physician present during all operating hours to report infection data to the state and would prohibit discrimination of patients based on insurance type. Proposition 25 would eliminate the cash bail system to get out of jail while awaiting a trial and instead use an algorithm to assess a person's risk for not appearing in court. Keep it tuned to KCBS for round-the-clock results, reaction, and analysis. It's 2:35 at KCBS. This portion of the News Watch sponsored by Ring Central, the global leader in cloud communication and collaboration solutions. Traffic in about 2.5 minutes.
You're working from home. So how do you connect with coworkers and clients? With Ring Central, the #1 global communication solution for business, makes talking, texting, collaborating, and video calls easy. And it's all on one platform. And when we say everyone should be connected, we mean it. It's why we're giving Ring Central free to educators, health providers, and nonprofits. Learn more at ringcentral.com. Welcome to the new Ring Central.
Making plans for Thanksgiving? Well, I can tell you who to invite. Pacific Coast Termite. Any uninvited guests? Termite swarming season is about to take place. This is Joe Starkey. Pacific Coast Termite has been to my home, and boy, am I glad I called them. The polite and professional staff was superb, and they'll work around your busy schedule. They inspect and treat just about every problem, repair where needed, and finally, take all necessary measures to keep the little devils away. And I really never knew they were even in the house. Pacific Coast Termite uses Orange Oil Plus, so you and your pets can stay in your home. No fumigation to force you to bag your food. No need to move out. Pacific Coast Termite is a trusted company that is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. So if you call now, you get 10% off termite treatments. And if you noticed rodents, oh, yikes, we did, and Pacific Coast Termite took care of that problem, too. Call them like I did, 1-800-PACIFIC. That's 800-722-4342 or PacificCoastTermite.com.
Radio.com Rewind gives you KCBS News when you want it. Hear what you may have missed or hear an interview again by listening to KCBS via Radio.com Rewind.
KCBS News Time.
Yes, I do. And look at that, Rebecca. Already a long line of traffic on northbound 101 headed to the lower deck of the Bay Bridge. The good news is no accidents or stalls in the way, just a lot of brake lights. And once you get onto the lower deck, no delays at all. In fact, traffic moving well in both directions on the Bay Bridge. Jamming up, though, in both directions on the East Shore Freeway. If you're headed in that direction, the Chilton Autobody collision cam confirming a fender bender wrapping up westbound Interstate 80 just after Powell. It's on the right shoulder. Traffic also crowded up in the eastbound direction until you get past University Avenue. And then if you're continuing eastbound for the commute on Interstate 80 into Richmond, San Pablo, Pinole, and so forth, no delays. Traffic is moving at the limit. We do have a car fire in Contra Costa County, Antioch, backing up traffic a bit. Eastbound Highway 4, just before Summersville Road. Right lane is blocked there. Fire crews on the scene. If you see or smell the smoke, they are on top of that. Next update at 2:48 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Sunny, warm weather for the Bay Area. We have passed 80 degrees in some inland neighborhoods, 60s and 70s at the beaches and the Bay. More of the same is expected tomorrow. Right now it's 63 degrees in San Francisco, 66 in Oakland, 75 in San Jose, 81 Livermore. Traffic and weather together on the 8th on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS. KCBS News Time 2:39, and here's Dave Ross.
Sorry about all the stress. This is Dave Ross on the CBS News Radio Network, presented by Capital One Bank. In the final hours of the campaign, we have had a federal judge rule that Texas cannot just throw away 127,000 ballots just because they were cast at a drive-through polling place. Another judge had ruled that the post office is legally obligated to deliver the mail. We've seen President Trump turn the election into a referendum on Dr. Fauci, and Joe Biden campaigned with Lady Gaga in front of parked cars and used the word malarkey again. And I realize our relentless coverage of all this has left many of you feeling stressed enough to self-medicate through yoga, meditation, alcohol, and pot. Speaking of which, 4 states that voted for Trump last time actually vote today on legalizing pot. That's how stressed people are. And if I have added to the stress, I am sorry. I have really tried not to swear or shout, which hasn't been easy. In Sunday's comic strip, Dilbert shouted, and most days he doesn't even have a mouth. But now, it's time for the excitement to end. even though there are some people who clearly want it to continue.
In Houston, vandals targeted the county's Democratic Party headquarters, spray painting the windows with the words, "Elections no, revolution yes."
See, the important thing now is to breathe deeply and make our system work, because some people are all too ready to impose their own system if it doesn't. Dave Ross on the CBS News Radio Network.
Being informed has never mattered more.
When you have an infectious disease emergency like this, you really need to jump into action.
Having a trusted news source is essential.
We should expect to see this increase the number of cases diagnosed here, but that's completely expected as we get better at testing.
We are here for you. All news, all the time, right here on KCBS.
Know the traffic before you're stuck in it. KCBS is the only Bay Area radio station providing live and local news about your commute around the clock. It's one more reason why we're number one here in the Bay Area. All News 106.9 and AM 740. KCBS.
CBS, November 16th. It's the season premiere of All Rise. LA's newest Superior Court judge is changing the system.
When I take the bench, I'm taking a vow to fight for justice.
One case at a time.
Your Honor.
We're going to trial.
Simone Missick is Judge Lola Carmichael.
Up on that bench, everything is different.
The season premiere of All Rise.
Freedom is at stake. It's important.
Followed by the season premiere of Bull. CBS, November 16th.
So question, how far would you go for a friend? Ride to the airport? Half your sandwich? Donate a body part?
I need a kidney transplant.
I have 2 kidneys, right?
Yeah.
Why do I need 2?
You don't?
Well, then guess who's getting a kidney?
Silicon Valley's Thomas Middleditch and Tony winner Annalie Ashford.
Kidney buddies for life.
A new original series, Be Positive, premieres this Thursday on CBS.
KCBS News Time 2:42. At the Oakland Convention Center, where the Warriors used to practice, voting has been going smoothly, according to KCBS reporter Matt Boone, who is out there speaking to voters.
It's been a smooth day at the Oakland Convention Center. Voters trickling in. Many of them have already filled out their ballot and came by just to drop it off, like first-time voter Stefan Flores, who showed up in a suit with a smile under his mask when he came out.
Couldn't do it 4 years ago. I was in high school. I was 17. Couldn't do it, so I felt like I had to do it, and I feel good about it.
24-year-old Omar Khatib said he came with his ballot filled out as well. He didn't even go inside, instead dropping it off at the drive-by ballot station down the block.
I'm kind of surprised there aren't more people here, but it also kind of makes sense that a lot of people have voted through mail-in ballots early.
I also ran into Ruben Castillo-Benuelos, who had his I voted sticker on, but tells me he actually voted in person last week.
Because I wanted to avoid the crowds, and I wanted to vote safely, but I wanted to vote most importantly.
So far, it looks like he would have been okay today, at least at this location. In Oakland, Matt Boone, KCBS.
KCBS News Time 2:44. We've got sports in a minute.
CBS November 16th. Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield star in The Neighborhood.
Did Malcolm say what he did to get arrested?
It was being black in America.
I'm filing a complaint. Where's the suggestion box?
I'm gonna organize a protest. You're supposed to use your head, Malcolm. Come on, man. You gotta fight smart. I can feel the... Where's Malcolm?
I thought he's with you.
I'm going back out there.
I'm going with you.
No, I don't need anybody else I love out there. Come on, Dave.
The Neighborhood, season premiere, Monday, November 16th on CBS.
Californians are already voting by the millions.
Be nice to get it over with.
As we hit the home stretch of one of the most bitterly contested elections in American history.
The very soul of the nation is at stake.
I'm political reporter Doug Sovereign. Keep it tuned right here for Northern California's most comprehensive political coverage.
And we are going to win 4 more years.
Campaign 2020 on the Bay Area's #1 news station, KCBS.
Coming up on KCBS, demonstrators take to the freeways to get those last-minute pitches out for people to vote. That story along with an update from CBS News in 5 minutes. 2:45, a sports report now with Ted Rainey.
And we're starting with the 49ers, straight from the horse's mouth. Here's 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan with the latest on the injury to 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, he essentially had a whole new one just on the same foot. When you have those high ankle sprains, that you re-injure him a lot, but it was a different way that he did it. So it's basically doing it all over again in a different way. So that's why we know it's going to probably be, that's usually 4 to 6 weeks with those high ankle sprains. It is worse than the last one. That's why surgery is an option. So we're just getting different doctors' opinions now. Whatever's best for him long term is obviously what we'll decide on.
So it's a new-ish injury for Garoppolo with a high ankle sprain. Shanahan went on to say the team hoped to have Garoppolo back before the end of the year if surgery can be avoided. Also, we're just learning that the 49ers have cut wide receiver Dante Pettis, who was originally selected by the team in the second round of the 2018 draft, but has mostly been a disappointment. Other NFL news, the Dolphins have reportedly traded wide receiver Isaiah Ford to the New England Patriots in exchange for a 7th-round pick. This represents a very rare interdivisional trade in the NFL, and the NFL is also expanding the bench areas and tightening up on mask restrictions on the sidelines. The bench will span from one 20-yard line to the other, 60 yards in total, and all post-game and pre-game interactions between players must involve the use of a face mask. At the sports desk, Ted Ramey, KCBS.
Hey Google, play KCBS Radio.
Hey Google, play KCBS Radio.
Hey Google, play KCBS Radio.
Okay,
Stream KCBS Radio on your smart speaker. All news, all the time. On the Bay Area's #1 news station, KCBS.
Here at KCBS, we're telling you how this emergency affects farmers.
We didn't even wash our stuff. We just harvested it, put it straight into the boxes.
Kids who raise animals for 4-H.
It's a big letdown. I know it's a huge part of it was showing what you've done and what you've worked for.
And how cocktails to go are helping restaurants.
An adult Happy Meal if you want. Yep, absolutely.
In Oakley, Bob Butler, KCBS. KCBS is helping the Bay Area stay connected. For more, go to radio.com/stay connected.
We are here for you.
Whenever a health threat is unfamiliar to people, their anxiety levels go up.
With straightforward news coverage.
People aren't traveling as much. They're not going out to eat as much. People are starting to work remotely more.
All news, all the time, right here on KCBS. Never miss a minute of KCBS Radio again. Introducing Radio.com Rewind. Listen to the past 24 hours of KCBS Radio on your time. It's the Bay Area news you want, when you want it. Find KCBS Radio in the Radio.com app and try the all-new Radio.com Rewind experience. Being informed has never mattered more.
The testing protocols and regimes, as they evolve, more people are tested.
Having a trusted news source is essential.
More people are tested positive. You will start seeing those numbers increase.
All news, all the time, right here on KCBS.
KCBS News Time 2:48. Heads up in Antioch. Kim Vestal tells us there's a car on fire.
There is, but fire crews have arrived in Antioch, but a backup is developing now on eastbound Highway 4. This update brought to you by Network Capital Funding. It's just before Summersville Road, and the KCBS Waze Force is telling us, yes, the right lane is blocked, and it's backed up now to Loveridge, very slow approaching the scene of that situation there. But the only other issue on Highway 4 is slowing eastbound from before 680 to 242, and that's typical for this time of day. Traffic on 680 between Walnut Creek and Highway 4 is moving well, and your ride through the San Ramon Valley on 680 also no accidents to report. Getting calls about the ongoing delays in Petaluma and the North Bay, both directions of 101 because of police activity. Betsy just told us that there are no lanes blocked, a lot of rubbernecking going on, so ongoing delays there, and still no estimated time for when they'll wrap up that activity. But again, it's all happening on the shoulder of the road. If you refi to an interest rate you thought was great at the time but regret it as rates continue to fall, don't worry. Network Capital will refinance your current loan to a new historic low rate, even if you just refinanced with another lender. Call Network Capital, 800-500-1HIT. Next update at 2:58 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
A lot of sunshine for the Bay Area.
CBS News Special Report. Election 2020. America decides.
Americans from east to west are casting votes today. In around 10 minutes, some polls will close in parts of Indiana and Kentucky. Joe Biden did some campaigning today in the key state of Pennsylvania. He was critical of the president.
He talks about being a tough guy and what a macho man he is. When's the last time you ever heard when a president shows up at the United Nations and the whole UN laughs at him? That's never happened before.
At the White House, Mr. Trump spoke to some of his staffers.
I'm hearing we're doing well all over. I hear the lines are amazing. The lines have been amazing. And I think we're going to have a great night. We're going to have a great night. And we're going to have, much more importantly, we're going to have a great 4 years.
We should see the first results in just over an hour after polls in 6 states close, including polls in Georgia and South Carolina. Both those states have key Senate races as well. CBS News Special Report. I'm Steve Futterman.
KCBS News Time, 2:51. It's estimated that a greater percentage of eligible voters are casting ballots in this election than in any since 1900. KCBS's Jim Taylor reports on a demonstration encouraging just that, vote.
We're overlooking 8 lanes of Contra Costa Freeway with a bunch of demonstrators.
You got a lot of flags going on. The message, what's the message here?
Message is for getting the awareness out. Biggest election of our country's modern day history is upon us.
Yes, this noisy demonstration is partisan, but we're here to talk about exercising our democratic right.
It's essentially a multifaceted thing that we're doing to get our message out.
And the message is also to vote, yes?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And it's just kind of just getting everybody a reminder that, you know what, this day is upon us. Remember to get out there, hit the polls, drop your mail-in ballot in the mail, vote in person, and, everyone needs to vote.
You're getting a lot of reaction from drivers. I hear a lot of honking and stuff like that.
Yes.
Nationally, a 70% voting turnout is possible. That's nearly 10 points higher than the last election. On a Highway 24 overpass, Jim Taylor, KCBS.
British bookies are calling the U.S. election the biggest betting event of all time, and one man alone has gambled millions on the outcome. CBS News correspondent Vicky Barker reports from London.
It's believed to be the biggest bet ever placed on the outcome of a political race. The Sun tabloid reports an unnamed mystery man, described only as a rich former banker, has bet $5 million on a Trump victory. If he's right, he'll end up nearly $15 million richer. British bookies have actually been giving odds based on a Biden win. At least one customer has put down $1 million on a Democratic victory. That bettor could double his money. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
NASA has chosen Nokia to build the first ever cellular network on the moon. Nokia Bell Labs are planning to build what they describe as the ultra-compact, low-power, space-hardened, end-to-end LTE solution that'll be available on the moon by late 2022. Nokia says the idea is to provide the kind of technology that makes it possible to remotely control lunar rovers or allow real-time navigation and streaming of high-definition video. A new survey finds Asian Americans are dealing with more racism since the start of the pandemic. CBS's Jennifer Brown reports.
The research out of Washington State University is titled Stigma and Health and looked at the Asian American experience. Nearly 30% surveyed say they dealt with more discrimination in recent months. One woman saying a group of kids shouted coronavirus at her. Others heard terms like kung flu. Researchers then asked about their health. 40% said they experienced more health problems like depression and anxiety. Jennifer Brown, CBS News.
President Trump's received his one and only endorsement for re-election from a California newspaper. It's again from the Santa Barbara News Press, and that endorsement is written by the paper's owner, Wendy McCaw. As SF Gate reports, the endorsement relies on many common right-wing talking points, like calling the coronavirus pandemic the Wuhan virus, raising fears of socialism, and falsely accusing Democratic leaders of using violence to maintain power. PayPal piling up some big numbers. Jason Brooks, Money Watch report.
Wall Street soared higher on Election Day with some big gains coming from tech firms that have been struggling of late, including Apple, Facebook, and Amazon. Boeing, Goldman Sachs, and Walgreens led the Dow higher, with the blue chip index gaining 555 points. The Nasdaq rose 203 points, and the S&P moved higher by 59 points. PayPal is the latest tech company failing to meet a high bar set on Wall Street. The San Jose firm easily beat third-quarter earnings expectations, with revenue rising nearly 25% from a year earlier to $5.5 billion. But as good as that was, it did not match PayPal's meteoric 41% revenue growth in the second quarter, as the company was an early winner during the pandemic, with Americans looking for payment options to cash. PayPal's person-to-person cash app Venmo continues to grow in popularity, processing $44 billion in transactions, up 61% from a year earlier. PayPal stock lost over 4% today, but the stock is up 70% in 2020. On the Money Watch, Jason Brooks, KCBS.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
Thompson, party of four. Thompson, party of four. Thompson.